This article comes from Den of Geek UK. This is your final warning for major spoilers for Alien: Covenant. Prometheus was billed as a prequel to Alien, but it was also a huge departure from that 1979 classic. Where Alien was a streamlined space horror, a ship, a monster, a small and rapidly diminishing crew, Prometheus opened up the franchise's vistas. What was dark and interior became bright and largely exterior. The story of one monster became the story of humanity's origins. In the place of pure astral terror, Prometheus aimed to ask big questions: where the alien came from, where we came from, our species' innate need for religion, meaning, and purpose. How curious, then, that Ridley Scott's latest film in his planned series of Alien prequels effectively abandons all those big questions. Alien: Covenant re-establishes the motivations of rogue synthetic David, a returning Michael Fassbender, to get audiences up to speed, but quickly takes a U-turn back into the straight space horror of Alien. See related. Alien: Covenant and the Elizabeth Shaw problem. Alien: Covenant ending explained. How Alien: Covenant retcons James Cameron's Aliens and more. Note how much of Prometheus is reduced to a cameo in Alien: Covenant. The engineers, who played such a major role in the 2012 film, are dialed right back here. Likewise, Elizabeth Shaw, Noomi Rapace, the nominal lead in Prometheus, is a goner before the opening credits even roll. Indeed, her fate is so cold and harsh that we wonder if it isn't an indication of something going sour behind the scenes. The engineers lie dead, blackened husks like the victims of Pompeii. Shaw is laid out on a table, horribly eviscerated by David. Is this Ridley Scott's pointed attempt to scratch out as much of the last film's events and start again? Alternatively, maybe David killed Shaw because she wouldn't stop singing John Denver hits. However Scott and writer John Logan arrived at Covenant's story, they've evidently made the bold choice of turning David into the prequel series' anti-hero and connecting thread, a fallen angel who's turned on the civilization that created him. Funnily enough, this was something we vaguely predicted a few months ago. Ridley Scott reliably displayed an affection for his non-human characters in the past, whether it's in Alien or Blade Runner. Alien: Covenant takes things further, effectively casting David in the role of Lucifer in John Milton's Paradise Lost. As Ridley Scott described the character in 2015, he's the evil son of a bitch. He's the good-looking one who gets all the girls and goes to all the nightclubs. The good one is kind of dull and depressing. As many suspected, it's David meddling with the engineer's black goo, or pathogen, as the filmmakers have started calling it, that created the xenomorph we all know from Alien and its sequels. Alien: Covenant ends with the title ship, now seized by David, heading off to Rigi 6, the planet it was destined for right at the beginning of the movie, before Billy Crudup, made the foolish decision to switch course to the engineer's planet. The Covenant is therefore heading to an Earth-like world with 2,000 humans in the deep freeze, hundreds of more embryos in another cold storage, alongside a pair of xenomorph specimens, queasily regurgitated by David in the dying moments. As Hollywood endings go, it's bravely downbeat, even if the final revelation that David had assumed Walter's identity could be seen coming a mile off. It's a variant on Chekhov's gun. You wouldn't go to the expense of casting the same actor in two roles if it didn't have a significant bearing on the plot. This, coupled with the abrupt cut when David and Walter ended their MMA smackdown in the engineer's abandoned city, made the conclusion all but inevitable. Transparent plotting aside, Covenant leaves Ridley Scott with plenty of possibilities for another film. Surviving crew members Daniels, Catherine Waterston, and Tennessee, Danny McBride, may have been put on ice, but we've already seen how cryopods can automatically wake up their occupants if there's an emergency on the ship. There's a chance, then, that the sequel to Covenant, if it happens, will see Daniels and Tennessee attempt to wrest control of the ship back from David, who's still pretending to wail in mutiny that he's Walter, complete with that iffy American accent. Having the two humans fight David and his experiments on the Covenant would certainly make for a logical continuation of the story, because, let's face it, bringing in yet another ship full of astronauts, dispatched to find out what happened to this latest doomed expedition would feel horribly predictable by this point. Besides, if Scott makes good on his stated aim to make 2 more films which lead right up to the events of Alien, he still has a considerable number of threads to tie up. We still don't know why the engineers on LV-223 were on the brink of death.